Welcome to Parish and Community. Today we have our first parishioner guest. This is Winnie Sullivan. Hello, Winnie. Thanks for taking some time with us today.
Hi, Angela. I'm delighted to do that.
So tell me about the path that brought you to College Church.
So it was kind of a roundabout path, a long journey, circuitous journey. Um, I, I'm a cradle Catholic and went to Catholic elementary school, high school. I'm a Marquette alum, and then came to SLU for a graduate program. And when I was at SLU, I was um, not attending church regularly. I was away for a period of time from the practice of Catholicism, probably starting my senior year at Marquette. And just spent a number of years kind of mulling things over, questioning, and gradually was brought back. There was a family that um, just did a remarkable act of charity after I had gone on and begun working. And I was so impressed by that and kind of compelled to find out more about the people who did that and also the community to which they belonged. And that was a smaller parish in University City where I live. So I was kind of drawn back in and drawn then into that community. And from there, I was there for several years. But during summers, when I did not have a choir commitment, I always enjoyed visiting other parishes just to see how folks were worshiping. And I did, on many occasions, go to the college church. I've always appreciated the homilies and the music. And so over time, I was just more drawn to the college church. And then a parishioner at the college church invited me to come to the parish. And so that was part of the impetus of my coming. And then again, the homilies were a draw. And I think the choir, without question, I was at Mass, I remember one Sunday, and the choir was singing, I think it was Bernadette Farrell, Restless is the Heart. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, I have to be part of that group. So I would say those things. And again, it was a gradual trip, but finally felt very comfortable with that decision and have been very happy to be part of the college church community.
Well, that's a great story of the power of invitation too. I don't think we always realize just what it means to have someone say, come on along.
Right. I think that invitation was very powerful. Again, I had been considering it, but when that invitation was extended, I felt like it was time to act on it.
So folks would know you from choir, and what other capacities have you been connected in with the parish?
So just in the recent past, I've begun to co-chair with Lisa Burks, the Anti-Racism Committee. And I'm just very interested in that work and finding it very energizing. And also kind of part of that is participation on the Race and Reconciliation Committee. And then just in January, I started to serve on the Pastoral Council. And so, so it looks like I'm all in now.
Once you're part of the committees and once you chair the committee.
Right.
So if someone were to ask you, what's college church like? What would you tell them?
It's many things. It's a very warm community. It's a large parish, and so I think sometimes that can be off-putting to people. But I think you need to just come in and be open to the possibilities there. And I think folks will find it a very warm and inviting place, stimulating in many ways. And yeah, just the warmth of it, I think, is a characteristic that stands out to me.
Mm. Mm. Do you, in the midst of a large parish, sometimes there's people you know and there's people you don't know, and even the people that we know, we don't necessarily know everything about them. So are there things that you feel like maybe your fellow parishioners may not know about your story that you'd be willing to share?
I'm sure there I'm sure there are. I can tell you that recently I took part in a Just Faith group there at the parish. And so we had an interesting icebreaker activity. There were several of those. And so that was a good opportunity to get to know people. But as part of those activities, we were revealing things about ourselves that people didn't know. So one thing I remember was I ended up disclosing that I had run the Chicago Marathon in the year 2000. Yeah, and another one was, how did you get your name?
Hmm.
And there were so many stories around that. That was just a very revealing kind of activity. So, I think the best thing to do is just to go and introduce yourself to people and kind of, get to the point where you're sharing more of your own personal story with a greater number of folks. But I think there are probably many things, yes, that remain to be revealed. Yes.
Well, I will let the next opportunity people have to see you out and about at College Church, when that may happen, to find out the story of your name.
Yeah.
To be continued. So, who are some of the heroes of faith for you?
So I would say that, I've been involved in preparing a book project about Sister Mary Antonia Ebo. And so she is definitely a person who is a hero of faith to me because she converted to Catholicism kind of against all odds. There were no, her mom died when she was 4, and she was raised until she was 18 in an orphanage. And so there were not really adult models for her and folks advising and counseling her. And she recognized that she was being guided by the Spirit, but she had a level of persistence and of claiming Catholicism as her own that to me represented real heroism. And that was before she ever became a witness in Selma and presence for the Catholic Church there in the civil rights struggle. So I would say a more contemporary hero is Sister Mary Antonia Ebo for me. And then I also am very pleased. My confirmation name is Catherine. It was taken from St. Catherine of Siena, a doctor of the church. And as it turned out, my work now is publishing and writing and editing. And so she was a person whose writings are acclaimed and actually had an influence on the literature of Italy. And so I thought, how did this work out? That, at age 13, she's the person I chose. But yes, so I regard her as another hero of faith. And I have a devotion to Mary that is longstanding. So, yes.
It's extraordinary. I've been looking myself at some of the women writers in the Catholic Church over the centuries, and just kind of delving into not just Catherine, but Teresa of Avila and folks of that nature. Encountering their works reminds you like their voices really were heard and available in ways that we kind of forget that women's voices were held up in centuries past. Even despite great odds, and something to aspire to. Not every voice, obviously, and they had to conquer a lot to get there, but
Yes, it's amazing. In my reading group, we were recently looking at Hildegard of Bingen, another person who was extremely influential. And it is interesting to look back to see um, religious women having had that kind of stature and influence. So,
yeah. So persistence, you mentioned in particular, is that aspect of faith that you also see in yourself, or what are some aspects of the Catholic faith that you have found to be particularly consequential in your own life?
persistence is important. As far as aspects of faith, I would say um, that the importance of prayer has been really important, really consequential for me, and it's something I think I've come to more recently. Developing a habit of prayer and just recognizing how sustaining that is. So that's been very consequential to me. Actually, music, sacred music, which for me is transcendent and has always been sustaining. I love the rich heritage of music that we have and the variety of it. And so that has been, folks say that singing is praying twice. And so that has been very important to me. And then again, a devotion to Mary. I went to the Academy of Our Lady High School, School Sisters of Notre Dame in Chicago. I was the prefect of the sodality. That's something people won't know. And I did the May crowning. So yeah. So that's been a long-standing and very consequential aspect of Catholic faith for me.
Do you have a favorite song that you get to sing at College Church?
Oh gosh, trying to choose a favorite song is so difficult because there's so much that I love. Um, everything from the Hallelujah chorus, a lot of the music that we do for my favorite seasons liturgically and in terms of music are Advent and Lent. I love the music of that time. And so there are just so many. I mean, I also sing with the Archdiocesan Choir and occasionally at the choir at the Carmelite Monastery. And so just some of my favorite music is the Howell's Te Deum. I love that. And then in a group that started at the parish as a Lenten group that I joined and has now extended beyond Lent. As a matter of fact, we're meeting this evening. We've decided to include just listening to music as part of that group and reflect on that. Yeah, and so last week I got to choose the piece, and it was the Amazing Grace Kyrie that was sung after 9/11, and that piece is breathtaking.
Wow.
So, yeah, I could talk about this for like the next several hours.
It is extraordinary to think of just the, again, heritage that we have just in sacred music and the art in general, that holding up of beauty as an aspect of God that is as important as goodness and truth, right? So, well, Winnie, I could talk about this with you also for hours, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let you go and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for taking some time, and look forward to seeing you out once things settle back into the new normal at College Church.
Thank you. Thanks, Angela, so much for your work at the parish, and we will definitely pick this conversation up at a later date.
All right, take care.